Hi, everybody. This is a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's your host, Marva. And today I will be talking about how I healed myself after death. Now, this is not the beginning, this was never the beginning of my healing journey. This was something that I think influenced me to really get into my healing journey and heal myself. Death is one of those things that haunts me a lot. I'm not a good person that grieves easily. I have a really hard time with death. Um, in 2020, I had to deal with a very close death to me that really shook up my world. I lost my stepmom, LeeAnn, who's the mother of my youngest sister, Lydia. I lost her to her battle with cancer. She had cervical cancer. She found out she had cancer after the birth of my sister. She lived up into May 23rd of 2020, 3 days before Rain's first birthday, 3 months before Lydia's third birthday. Um, so she really didn't get a lot of time with Lydia and Rain. Those are one of the things that influenced um, my healing journey because um, life comes at you so fast. Life changes really quickly, and life puts you in situations that sometimes you really cannot change or you really cannot control. And her getting cervical cancer after having her own first biological child is something that she really did not um, or could not change or control. um, the cancer was a very scary diagnosis because I had already lost my grandfather at a very young age to cancer, and that had already put, a dent in my um, in me dealing with death in general. Because I really, like I said, I'm scared of death. I'm scared to die. I'm scared of losing close people to me to death, and this thing with LeeAnn really shook me up because we were very close, very, very close throughout my pregnancy with Rain, throughout her pregnancy with Lydia, because I was so excited about getting a new sibling. She was very excited about being a grandmother. Even though she was battling with cancer at the time, she was very excited about this. She was the one of the first people to come and visit Rain after he got out the hospital. She came literally the next day, I think, after I got home from the hospital, and I was so happy that she was my first visitor because I wanted her time with Rain to be very special. I wanted her to soak in all of that what she could with Rain at the time, so that she could have her own personal memories with him. So because I do think she knew that her time with Rain, even with Lydia, was going to be short lived. Um, um, let's just talk about the actual day of me finding out that she died. I was dead asleep that morning. My mom calls me, and I always play with her. I'm like, oh, what do you want? I'm asleep. Rain sleep. Me and Charles are in the bed sleep, and she says LeeAnn died, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I immediately, literally, just started screaming into my phone. My mom had already tried to explain to me on the phone, like, hey, I know this is hard for you. Like, she was like, this is already like, this was not a fresh thing. It took her hours, her, my dad, and my grandmother, to deliberate on who was going to call and tell me that LeeAnn died. It went from my dad calling my grandmother calling my mom, and my mom just like, okay, give me a few minutes, I'll call her. Um, it was a very scary thing to hear those words, LeeAnn died, and I was just like what the hell is going on, I remember after, screaming and waking up Charles and like, oh my God, LeeAnn died. I called my stepdaughter's mom. I'm like, hey, my stepmom died. I need you to come get Jalen because I'm fucking losing it. I didn't want to lose my shit in front of Jalen. Rain was too young to really understand. So I don't think, making him leave the house would have, done much. But I just did not want to be, in a situation where my stepchild has to be around me while I'm grieving. I just wanted to be, I really just wanted to crawl into a dark hole. Um, I remember my Aunt Gloria called me. She was on her way back or to Victoria. I can't remember clearly, but she was in Victoria. She called me. We both cried on the phone, screaming like, "Oh my fucking god! Like, what are we gonna do? Like, LeeAnn's gone." Like, it was our worst nightmare coming, into like blooming in front of our eyes, and it was like, what the fuck? And then I'm looking at the date. I'm like, my son's birthday in 3 days. He's about to be 1, and I'm literally about to bury my stepmom, like the person I love the most. I'm about to bury. Um, it was a very out of body experience. I didn't believe that the thing I feared the most while LeeAnn was fighting her battle with cancer had happened. I did not think that this was going to be outcome of her battle. We would always talk about, like, her dying. I would make little jokes about how she wanted us to carry the casket, how she would haunt me. I would tell her, like, when you do crossover, can you like throw a vase or something so I can know you're okay? She would tell me, I guess if I could. And we would joke about this, and I would cry about it because I knew that eventually she might die from her cancer. But I never thought it would be this quick. 3 years, it was just like so quick to me. I thought we had more time, and that was my fault for wanting her to live through this and fight through this for me, when really I knew she was already tired. I want to believe that she knew it was coming, and she just did not want to scare us. I don't think she wanted to tell us that she knew it was coming. I also don't think that she really was ready at all. I don't think she was ready at all to leave her life, leave Lydia, the most important person to her, the person that she birthed, that she only got 3 years with. Um, I don't think she was ready, and that scared me the most, because you could be taken away from this earth. You can be taken away from this living life, and leave behind so many people, your children, your loved ones, your parents, your brothers and sisters, and you have no control over that. We have no control over our death. We have no control over the expiration of this living life. We have no say so on where we go after this, and that's the scariest part, because I think about her so much, and I'm like, I hope she's happy. I hope that she's thriving. I hope she's watching, over Lydia, me, her children, and her dad, her mom, my uncle Darren and his wife, and my aunt Gloria and her family. Like, I hope that all the people that was so close to her, I hope that she's, near them, and she's looking over us and stuff like that. Let's skip forward and go to the morning of the funeral, because she died that Saturday. That Sunday was we didn't really do much. That was the 24th, 25th, 26th. Rain's birthday was that no, the 23rd, I believe, was like a Friday. I don't remember clearly, but I know that on Rain's you know what? I want to say, I have to look at a calendar um so I can see how it went, the the days of things. Um let's see. I'm sorry about, getting off track a little bit. So, of May of 2020, May 2020. Okay, so she died on a Saturday. I remember the 26th was that Tuesday. That was Rain's birthday. The 27th is the day that we buried her, the day after Rain's birthday. I did a small little, get together at my house for Rain's birthday. I really didn't plan much because I was literally dealing with this. I was dealing with my sister lost her mom. My Aunt Gloria lost her best friend. My step grandparents are losing their only daughter, their youngest child, their baby, and I'm losing my stepmom, somebody that has had a very big influence on my motherhood, on what kind of mom I was. She prepared me for a lot of things that I didn't even know I needed to be prepared for with Rain or with my other children that I still do now. I went from planning a party to picking out an outfit to wear to a funeral, and the morning of the funeral, I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go. I knew that this funeral meant that it would be the last time I seen LeeAnn. It'll be the last time I get to see her in flesh, see her. Like, I knew her soul wasn't there anymore and stuff like that. I had already got past knowing that, this is real. It was just that I would never get to hold her hand. I would never get to hear her laugh again. I would never get to see her eyes, lighten up, or her be excited about me and Rain coming, or us coming to see Lydia. I would never get another, phone call over, um, messenger, see them during the day and stuff like that, or coming to visit her and get on her nerves. I knew that this was the end. um when I did arrive to the funeral, I was very, very anxiety stricken. This was at a time where I was on no medication. I was very anxiety stricken. I was very, very sad. I was scared. I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want this to be the end. I was scared for LeeAnn. I was scared for me and Lydia. I was scared for everybody because this person had such. LeeAnn was just LeeAnn. It was so much that we were losing by losing her. We're, most people were losing their daughter. They were losing their sister. They were losing their cousin. They were losing their granddaughter. I was losing my mom's stepmom. Um, and, out of all of this, she was losing all of us. But she used to always tell me too that she wish she could have more time for like um, Lydia and Rain at the time, because Rain was her only grandchild. Um, and I just remember sitting there next to Charles. We're watching a video of a photo montage of LeeAnn from birth up until her last photo with Lydia. And it was like, damn, I just watched her whole life within a matter of minutes. And like, how can this person be so cursed with cancer? Or, how can her life be shortened to this? Cancer taking away everything that we loved about LeeAnn in such a matter of a short time. And, it was just so, I couldn't fathom that, I could never fathom that. I just never forget looking around the church, seeing my cousin's Abby's eyes full of tears. She had lost her aunt. I remember hugging my papa at the church's door and him saying to never stop coming to Neeville and to never stop bringing Rain around. I remember seeing my Aunt Gloria, moving around, getting the projector set up for the pictures and the photo montage. Um, and when I did get the courage to say my goodbyes, because I really did never want to go to the casket, I had already kind of told Charles, like, hey, I don't want to go to the casket by myself. Somebody will have to go with me because I'm not going to have the courage to go up there. My anxiety was really bad. When I finally did it, I asked my Aunt Gloria to go up with me. My Mimi was already up there. My Aunt Gloria was to my left. My Mimi was to the right. I literally felt like my knees were about to buckle. Like I was about to fucking fall out. And I couldn't breathe. In her casket, they had set up graduation pictures of me and my sister, baby picture of Rain, pictures of Lydia, Lydia's binky. She was buried with her mother's love necklace from James Avery. She wanted to be in her tights and her Crocs, and she had a shirt that I had bought her that she never got to wear, which I thought was cool. But it was just like the only thing I think about was like, get up, get up, get up right now, like get the fuck up, because this is not real. I remember like touching her arm and it being so cold, and I was just like, wow, this will be the last time I feel like her flesh. Like this was the last time I'll feel how her skin feels. Like I tried to take in every moment because I knew this was it. This was it for me right here. Me standing at this casket was it for me, because everything past this wasn't going to matter anymore. This moment right here, me saying my goodbyes, me crying, me being right here with her and saying my goodbyes was it for me. I remember my Aunt Gloria saying, because she could feel me being, me breaking down even more. She said, look at her eyebrows. She told me, if I don't do her eyebrows, she was going to fucking haunt me. And we laughed, we giggled. That did help take a few stitches off my heart, but knowing that she wasn't there to hear my goodbyes, like I said, I knew her soul was never there anymore. This is all flesh. We're all flesh until we go into our spiritual life, until we go in, going to cross over. So I knew she had already crossed over. I knew that this was just flesh. I was speaking of flesh, and I was mourning flesh. I was grieving flesh. Um, but the only thing that really helped was knowing that spiritually and her consciousness was gone. She was no longer suffering this flesh. You know, her flesh was what she was suffering of. You know, after a while, um, my Aunt Gloria walked me away. I remember crying in her arms. They felt the safest. My dad was anxious, scared, and frightened that the same thing I feared actually happened. You know, he lost the love of his life. He didn't, I don't personally think he appreciated everything about LeeAnn that he should have. Um, and some of those things I didn't either. I didn't appreciate the time I got with LeeAnn. And now she was gone. I remember standing in front of the church while the rest of the family went to the burial grounds, which was behind the church. I asked could Lydia stay with me because I felt like Lydia was too young. I mean, I do think Lydia knew that LeeAnn had passed. I just didn't want to break my sister's heart more of her watching them put LeeAnn down in the ground. Do I think that was my choice? Probably not, but I'm glad that it was respected because, like I said, I don't think any child should have to see that. Me and Lydia stayed in front of the church. We played Ring Around the Rosie, and at the time, she loved the song "My Little Sunshine." LeeAnn used to sing that to her all the time. Uh, by the time I remember they were walking back, and Charles were finally getting in the car and stuff. And, you know, I'm saying goodbyes to my family, you know, everybody. I'm stopping, you know, introducing myself to LeeAnn's family that really didn't get to meet us before she passed, you know, letting them know, like, hey, I'm one of her eldest stepdaughters, you know, and telling them how much I love Lydia and how much, you know, I'll stick around as much and come around because I love Lydia and I love them. Um, Everything about grieving LeeAnn, even prior to the funeral, was hard. I remember the day of my cousin Tamisha, the day that I found out she came and see me. My cousin Tamisha actually drove me to my dad's house before the funeral. I want to say it was that Monday. Um, she told me that everything would be okay. You know, she reassured me that life will go on even after LeeAnn passed. You know, and that LeeAnn and my dad needed me at that time. So um, if anybody's ever been to the house in Eville that my dad and LeeAnn lives in, they know the long road before you get to the house. I literally made my cousin Misha stop in the middle of a road. I told her, take me back home. I don't want to do this. I do not want to go inside this house and LeeAnn not be there. Like at that, before the funeral, I could not believe that LeeAnn had died. So me going there was like, she's not going to be here. I don't want to fucking be here. I don't want to be reminded that she's not here. Um, I just couldn't do it. I knew she wasn't there. I didn't want to accept that she was gone. Eventually, my cousin was like, "Okay, look, we're going to the house. Like, you just tell me when you want me to push the fucking gas." And eventually, I was like, "Okay, let's go." When I arrived there, my sister Shawana had pulled up. My dad was pulling up from riding his motorcycle. It took both of them to drag me out the car, literally, like to talk me into getting out the car. Um, Walking into the house, I broke down immediately. Um, I remember calling for my Aunt Gloria. I called for my Aunt Gloria because she was living with them at the time. And we just hugged, instantly hugged, cried, held me so tight. When I tell you, it was the hardest hug I've ever felt in my life. I remember going into LeeAnn's bedroom. I remember taking her, she had a white Neville shirt that has flags on it and stuff. I mean, not white, it's gray. And I took it and I slept with it. You know, I still have it to this day. I slept with it because it smelled like her room. After, being in the room with my Aunt Gloria for a while, her holding me, consoling me, letting me cry it out. A lot of my cousins started arriving, and just seeing how much they recognized my heart aching for LeeAnn and them, acknowledging the type of relationship I had with my stepmom really validated my feelings in the moment, because I was losing my stepmom. I was losing a parent. I was losing a confidant. I was losing somebody that respected my mind and let me be myself, but also could tell me, you know, things from different point of views and love on me despite me not being hers biologically. Um, the house just didn't feel the same no more. It didn't feel like I was coming to, it didn't feel like all those times when I would come spend time with Lydia, Papa, and her, and, you know, sit with her, sit with Lydia, spend the night with them. I spent the night multiple times while I was pregnant with Rain. Um, Plenty of times with Lydia was a baby, plenty of times throughout her treatment. I would try and come a lot. Um, you know, after all of this, for like the next 2 years after this, I tried to spend every weekend and holiday with my papa, my Mimi, and my Aunt Gloria. Uh, these three people very much healed me without knowing. My papa was very amazing. Um, I think LeeAnn knew that these people would help me along this journey. I think they knew how much LeeAnn loved me and how much I loved her. And, you know, my papa didn't treat me differently from Lydia, and Lydia is his only granddaughter biologically. He definitely treated us equally, and my Mimi did too. My Aunt Gloria definitely has been the best with the whole thing with LeeAnn. Definitely has loved me as her own. You know, I'm not a visitor at her home. I'm family. Um, she definitely just took engulfed engulfed me into her family, and I owe her and my Uncle David a lot. And, you know, dealing with my bullshit every other weekend in Eville. My Uncle Darren too, you know, he definitely recognizes my love for LeeAnn, and that's very accepting and reassuring that I'm not just delusional about her loving me. You know, like all of these people see it, her loved ones, people the closest to her. um I'm just, it's these things with LeeAnn passing um, just made me realize that I had to heal myself ultimately, because time could slip from you. Life can be cruel, take you away from the things that you didn't even know you truly wanted. I've been a mom for 4 years, just short 1 year more than LeeAnn was here for Lydia. To love and care for her, I realized I shouldn't take any time for granted. I wanted to spend every living day with my children, um, love them as much as I can, give them the most love that I can, and make sure that I'm not taking them for granted either. Life is so short, it's so precious, and I hope even after my own death, I meet her at the gates. You know, I always say that. And I hope that she's somewhere crocheting. Me and my uncle always joke about her sitting on the porch with Grandma White, crocheting, drinking a root beer, and on her phone. Um, I just hope she's the same. I finally accepted that I might not have her now in the physical form, or, you know, I will definitely will have her in the spiritual. I want to hope that I have her when I cross over and I'm in the spiritual form, and that I pray to God that I'll get a few minutes at the end to, like, you know, love on her. And accepting LeeAnn's life has made me realize that I needed to heal myself, because I want to make the best of this life that I have. We only get one life, and God forbid that um, I take granted of my time, um, and I something happens to me, or, you know, I get taken away from my children. I want to be able to say that I spent the most time with them. I gave them the best of me. I don't want it to ever be so short lived. I pray that God definitely blesses me with long days, long health, but I also can't just rely on that. I have to do it for myself too. Um, you know, I need to love on my children, my family, and not think too much about my past or my problems that happened yesterday. I've definitely been trying to move forward daily and not bring yesterday with me, and that I should live now and live only for what's ahead of me. And what's ahead of me is that my children will be healthy. I will be healthy. You know, they'll be in, um, we'll all be mentally healthy, you know. And this death really just had a very big impact on me, because LeeAnn was a mom for short amount of time. And as far as my health, I can be a mom for a very long time. So why not make the best of it? Why not do do my best shit, like show out, because some moms don't get the time that I get. Some moms don't even get a chance to, or I'm gonna say this, some women don't even get a chance to enter motherhood because of life. And um, I would feel ungrateful, and I know she would tell me I'm ungrateful if I did not do my best as a woman and as a mother to give myself the best love in my children. So this grieving my stepmom and accepting her death and accepting what her life really was in that short amount of time of us being super close made me realize that, hey, you need to heal yourself. You need to recognize what's hurting you, get rid of it, um, and let's settle it for what it is. I had to give up a lot of my friends. I had to give up a lot of family. I had to change my way of approaching certain situations so that I'm happy and I'm not giving, giving myself the short end of the stick because I'm trying to make everybody else happy. I deserve to be happy too. And I mean, if that ruins things in this short amount of time, um, eventually I'll be happy in the long run. I basically have accepted that something life is not going to go exactly how I want, and sometimes you just have to do what's best for you, honestly. And I know that sounds very vague and like, oh, like a quote, but you really do have to do what's best for you and do what will make you happy in the long run and keep you going. And I mean, that's really much about it, about this, with this episode. Um, Death, I want people to recognize that sometimes death can be very beneficial in the way that you want to live your life ahead of the people that you lost. You want to do everything to not take granted of the long life that you have in front of them because they lost theirs and now they can't get it back. So why not make the best of your own? I also think some people don't recognize that death do change them. A lot of people say, oh, death don't change me, life don't change me, certain situations don't change me. It definitely does. It molds us in small things. You might not, see it now, but eventually you'll be like, you know what, losing this person made me feel this way and I changed these things. And that's what happened with me and LeeAnn. And I hope that anybody that's grieving somebody closely right now or has grieved a parent in general, um, just don't take life for granted and love everyone the same, and just, you know, take time for yourself, heal yourself how you want to. Don't let anybody push you in your grieving journey. Don't let anybody tell you how to grieve. Um, just remember that that person is close to you. This is not our final form in life. This is just our our spirit holding within flesh, and everybody will meet again one day, I believe. And I hope that you all meet again with your loved ones and you all are, going on a healing journey with me if you're listening. And that I'm just sending you all peace and blessings. And that's it.